Hey, what is up, guys? It's me, Alec, here, bringing you another movie review. And today, we are going to be talking about the long-awaited, anticipated sequel, Zombieland Double Tap. Oh man, this is a movie I've been excited for a while now. It's been in development for a while. Got some great writers, both writers from Deadpool, and then you got the director of Venom, and also he's the return director from the original Zombieland. And oh boy, this is just a reunion with all the original cast and more that I just want to dive into so bad. There's a lot to talk about in this non-spoiler review, because don't want to ruin it for all you lovely folks. And yeah, I can't wait to get into it. Let's just dive right into it. So, I just want to get this out of the way because this is the number one thing I want to talk about. Watching this movie, there is one new person that stands out so much. You've probably seen it in other reviews, but Zoe Dutch, or however you pronounce her last name, as Madison, is a scene stealer. She gets you laughing like crazy. She is easily one of the best installments in the sequel. She is hilarious. She is fun. She creates this whole new atmosphere. But also, we got the entire returning cast. Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, Emma Stone, and Roy Harrelson. They're all back. They are so passionate, and you can tell. They have some great moments and that just make you think, this is totally Tallahassee, Little Rock, Columbus, or even Wichita. They really return to their characters. But I will also say there are moments where it feels like it's either hyperbole of the character or just there's some shifts that didn't make sense. Especially with Tallahassee. There is a lot of moments where I felt like Woody Harrelson took it above and beyond with Tallahassee and just made him a complete stereotype instead of this multi-layered kind of hardened redneck. It just goes stereotypical redneck. And it kind of harms his character. But there are moments where he is completely how Tallahassee was, and he makes a realistic development of the character, and all of them do. All of them definitely do. Especially, I would say, Little Rock. For good or for worse, she changed a lot and progressed. It makes sense, because obviously she's older now, but a lot of the motivations didn't make a whole lot of sense. There are moments where they shift like crazy, but overall, she is a pretty enjoyable character still. Still kind of miss the Little Rock we used to have, but I'm not completely disappointed with what we got. And obviously, Jesse Eisenberg as Columbus and Emma Stone as Wichita are both amazing still. You could tell everyone in this cast was passionate about this movie. They had so much fun with it, and you can feel it. It really seeps with passion, I would say, for sure. Oh man, it's crazy. I love it. I love it so much. And the other thing I love about it is it creates such a new vast world. Because yes, you are still seeing the main four that we all know, but they expand the world to show it's not just these four. There's other survivors handling it different ways, and it really complements its world building. It makes such a more human-like world, and it feels so much better. There's a lot of new references to different pop culture things, and sometimes it can be overbearing. There are moments where it just droned on a little too much, but then there are some great moments where it's just like, that's a perfect pop culture reference right there. And that is one thing I would say differs between Zombieland, Double Tap, because Zombieland was a little more reserved with these pop culture references, where Double Tap goes all out with them. It's a constant barrage of pop culture references, especially from Columbus, obviously, because he's the nerd of the group. The way I would say this film is missing is it develops a sense of emotional tie in the start, and then the middle it just completely abandons it. It's a huge tonal shift, actually. It's kind of weird, I'm not going to lie. It kind of bugged me. Because you were getting attached or reattached to the characters, and then they completely abandon these emotional, touching moments for comedy. Now, I'm not saying that's a horrible thing. Sure, there's a lot of great laughs in here, but it annoys me that they were trying to build this heart and then abandon it and return to the heart later. And it just feels like they completely forgot to do any heart in the second act. And towards the end of the first half as well, I would say. But the third act has a lot of heart. The first half of the first act has a lot of heart. And it really meshes well with the comedy, I would say. And I wish I saw more of that, you know? That would have been really nice. Because it's Zombieland. Yeah, it's supposed to be a little dark comedy, but also, just like in the original Zombieland, have some heartfelt moments, like when they were all spending time together, or they were having that heartfelt moment with Tallahassee in the original Zombieland, with him sharing about his son. And it just doesn't have that much in Zombieland Double Tap. It's a little disappointing, not gonna lie, but it's still nice. The comedy does make up for it at points, and I was laughing the whole time. Sure, not all of it's like smart, funny quips, but they are a blast. It has some really dumb humor, but it has some great smart humor as well, and it kind of sucks because they did spoil some really funny parts that were gonna be in Double Tap, like the resemblance between Tallahassee and Columbus characters in someone else that they showed. It was something great that I wish they saved for the movie, for sure. Oh man. The other big change you're going to learn as you watch this movie is you can tell they invested a lot more in CGI. Now, I'm not saying it's a horrible thing. I think they used the CGI actually pretty great. There's a few moments where you can like be like, oh, why do you do CGI there? But for the most part, the ways they used it is pretty cool. And they're in moments where you need CGI. You can't do practical effects. I mean, if you're going in there expecting a full, like, practical effect movie, I mean, you went to the wrong movie to start with. It's not that kind of movie. It's a much more popcorn flick. And I'm just really happy overall with this movie, I would say. I think they did a lot of characters justice. And they expanded it really well. And they kept with a lot of themes they had before, like the opening with the interacting characters moving the title cards around with the physics and all that. I thought that was really nice. They had some great graphics for Columbus's rules, obviously, that return, and it's a lot of fun. It's great to see these come back. And yeah, they also introduce a new character, Berkeley. They show him in the trailer. He's the hippie guy. I was disappointed with him, if I'm being real honest here. I thought he was a very disappointing character because he seemed to only be there for the plot and not really have any character development. he was just there, it felt. And it kind of just sucked seeing it go to him, and he says some stuff, because you're like, I don't care about you. You, like, there's not much to care about. Because later you meet other great characters that you see for a shorter amount of time that leave more of an impact on you than the character that's there for the story. And man, it's crazy. It's pretty gory. There's moments where it's very gory, if I will say, because I was like, wow, they really upped the ante on the gore, and that is always a bloody good time. Ah, pun intended. Haha. And it's good. But also another thing I do have to fault it for. Some of the shots, especially when they were driving, they felt very amateur in a bad kind of way. I don't know how to explain it entirely. It just felt off. It didn't feel correct. It felt like the shots were wanting more and they couldn't get it. And you just felt a little dissatisfied at points. Like, it just felt kind of weird. Some shots are weird, but the dialogue makes up for it. It's a pretty enjoyable script. Sure, there are a little bit of realistic dialogue, but overall, there are cliche moments in the script that does kind of go, ugh. But it also has some great funny things that you can totally tell were from the writers of Deadpool. They have such great comedy. Such good comedy. And that's all I can really say, without getting into spoilers. It's a blast. You will have such a fun time. You will laugh your heart out. Sure, it's not as satisfying as the original Zombieland that came out in 2009, but it is a much more meta, pop culture-y, fun movie. And that's all I can say. So, I just want to say, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, all that mumbo jumbo, and thank you all for watching. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you guys in another video.